Well, Attorney General Eric Holder, he's already hinting he won't be sticking around for a second term, considering the fact that he was held in contempt of court and that Congressman Issa, you know darn well he's not quitting on Fast and Furious. Surprised to hear that he might be leaving?
Well, not really. I mean, very, very few attorneys generals stick around for the full 8 years of a two-term presidency. Janet Reno was the major exception there. Some stick around for a while, and others, like Hillary Clinton and now possibly Eric Holder, decide I've done my service and go back into the private sector.
Yeah, he's done his service all right, his service of not turning over documents and saying he doesn't know anything about Fast and Furious. But does this mean, that's the big question, does this mean he's off the hook if he leaves?
Oh, no, not by any means. I mean, at this point, Eric Holder has been held in contempt of Congress, and the president has invoked executive privilege, and based on a recommendation from Eric Holder. So the lawsuit that is going on is to try to get a court to order Eric Holder, or really the Attorney General and the President, to turn over the subpoenaed documents. This is a civil contempt matter, and the matter doesn't go away just because the guy who was the Attorney General at the time leaves. Whoever the new Attorney General would be might look at it, at the issue, and make a new recommendation to the President. They might settle the matter, but the matter would certainly continue in court if the new Attorney General refuses to turn over the documents that were subpoenaed.
But that's the big question. If he leaves, and this case, as you said, continues, will it be the new Attorney General that will be held accountable to come to court and answer all the questions, or will they call Holder back to do it?
Well, it's not even really a question of answering questions. It's a subpoena for documents.
Right.
And this is a civil contempt proceeding. So a court is going to say, look, I am going to order, or not, but assuming the court does, will say, I am ordering you to turn over these documents. And there will be some kind of punishment imposed. It could be a fine. It could be somebody goes to jail. But you can stop paying that fine and get out of jail the moment you turn over those documents. Is to try to put some oomph behind a court order. That is different from criminal contempt, where somebody would be punished individually for disobeying a court order. But that's a matter that would have to be brought by the U.S. Attorney's Office in the District of Columbia, and the U.S. Attorney Ronald Machen has already said, we're not going to do that. So this is all about trying to force that position, the person who is the Attorney General, to turn over documents that have been subpoenaed. And either if that happens, then the contempt is, to use a legal term, is purged.
Mm-hmm. But when you say that position, if Holder's no longer in that position, then isn't he off the hook?
Well, he, as an individual, has never really been on the hook. He has been held in contempt. That is now a matter of history. It's a question of whether or not, what are the consequences of being held in contempt, and that's really a matter that the new Attorney General, assuming there is one, will inherit, because the subpoena is still outstanding. They have still refused to turn over the documents, and the matter is now before a court. A new Attorney General could come in and then make a recommendation to the President that he waive the executive privilege and produce the documents. Now, I don't think that would happen, but it might happen. It would be a good thing for the country if it did happen. But assuming that doesn't happen, the fight is all over, not whether to punish Eric Holder. The fight is over to get the documents produced.
And you have written about this lawsuit and the DOJ's decision to seek a federal court to dismiss this case.
Yeah.
And the implications it has if there's a precedent set, if the court agrees with the DOJ.
Well, I don't think the court will agree with the Department of Justice. The Department of Justice filed a brief asking the court to dismiss the matter, saying, hey, this is really a dispute between the two other branches of government, and a court should never get involved in such a dispute when it involves a subpoena. They should leave it to the rest of the political processes, either an impeachment fight or Congress withholding funding through the appropriations process. They even suggest, hey, we should just leave this matter up to the voters. And I cannot imagine, particularly after the Watergate scandals and President Nixon trying to withhold documents from the special prosecutor and from Congress, there is not a lot of case law out there, but whatever case law there is supports the notion that courts get into these fights reluctantly, but if push comes to shove, they will issue rulings and will not just leave things up to the political process, as the president now thinks is arguing in court they should.
Yeah. And when you look at the short list already, they're talking about Janet Napolitano moving in if Holder leaves. That is not too darn encouraging, is it?
Well,
I mean,
Janet Napolitano has her fans and her detractors. She certainly has she has prosecutorial experience. She was a U.S. attorney in Arizona under President Clinton, and then she was the Attorney General there before becoming Department of Homeland Security Secretary. So, she's got a lot of prosecutorial experience. Whether her judgment on this issue would differ from Eric Holder's, I can't crawl inside her head to make that determination. I'd be surprised. I'd be pleased if it were different, but I'd be surprised.
But John, we have a dead Border Patrol agent. We have Agent Terry's family, who still is demanding to know the truth, and Holder insists he was vindicated by the Inspector General. So he's just going to leave.
Well, he certainly was not vindicated by the Inspector General's report. I mean, look, he may have been not in the know about the specifics of Operation Fast and Furious, but that in and of itself is an indictment of his management style and the people who are under him. And the fact that the Attorney General, assuming it was true, didn't know about an operation that allowed guns to walk on a very large scale across the border into a sovereign nation. If he didn't know about that, then he was really asleep at the switch and ought to hold the people under him responsible for that. And it certainly seems at his best at getting a hand slap.
And just to clarify, John, if he's not off the hook, what could we see happen to him, even if he does leave?
Well, nothing would happen to him individually. I mean, again, he's not going to jail. He's not going to get a criminal fine. He's not going to end up being convicted of anything. Look, if he leaves, what he will take with him is his reputation. If you're a fan of what the Department of Justice has done in Operation Fast and Furious, although even there they say they made mistakes, or in the area of civil rights with the new Black Panther case, I mean, there are whole areas in which the department has engaged in, shall we say, controversial conduct. And Eric Holder will have his fans, but he will have his detractors too. And I certainly don't think that he will be leaving the Department of Justice, assuming he does, with his reputation as pristine as it was when he came in.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Got to ask you before I let you go, your thoughts on how this whole election turned out while you were watching those returns.
Well, from a personal standpoint, I was certainly hoping for a victory for Governor Romney. I was not shocked that the president won re-election, but I thought it would be closer than that.
Yeah.
I certainly am very surprised that the Republicans lost 2 seats in the Senate. It was not a good day for Republicans. Heritage, of course, is a conservative organization, but is a not-for-profit, and isn't Republican or Democratic per se. I'm in my individual capacity, I am a Republican, and I was certainly disappointed with the outcome.
And the road ahead is sure going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, no, it certainly will be. But look, everybody needs a loyal and vocal opposition, and I'll continue to do my part advocating for conservative causes.